The story goes like this, and it's given from the perspective of the person it happened to. So please bear with me. The person says, not long after when my son Kai was born, his mother checked out. And what I mean by check out is that she decided that being a wife and a mother was not for her. So she checked out. Therefore, I raised Kai by myself. It wasn't easy, but I made it work because he was my son. There were those terrible twos in preschool and regular school and all the other things in between, which was fine until Kai became a teenager. Then things got strange. He began to dress in black and shut himself in the room and play games with his friends and have these secret phone conversations that I was never included on. And then it got to the point where I had to drop Kai a little ways before the actual school where the entrance was. I didn't understand that too, but I finally began to realize that my son, my teenage son, didn't want to be seen with me in public and didn't want to be seen with me dropping him off. Where we used to cross the street and walk through the mall holding hands, now he stayed as far away from me as he could. In fact, sometimes he says, Dad, why don't you just sit here and I'll go do my thing and I'll come back. One day, it's the afternoon. My son again has himself locked in his room, and I hear the games going on, and all of a sudden I hear him screaming, Dad, 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 come in here right now, Dad, come in here. I'm panicking, and I knock on the door. I said, I can't come in, and he opens the door. I said, what's wrong? He's holding the phone like this, and he's looking at it. He says, Dad, I'm going to the winter formal. The winter formal, is that like a winter ball? He goes, yeah, it's the winter formal. It's a dance. I said, wow, dude, that's great. He says, remember that girl, Lisa? The one I always told you about that I liked? I said, no. Dad, how could you not remember? I talked about her all the time. I said, maybe you talked about her all the time, but it wasn't to me. Maybe you were on the phone with somebody while I was driving the car. He says, anyway, Dad, that's not the point. I really liked her, and I asked her to the winter formal, and she said, yes. Dad, I don't know what to do now. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, now I have to buy a suit or something because it's the winter formal. I said, oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, definitely. We could go to Pearl Ridge. I could take you to the men's store. We can get it. He says, okay, that's great. And he says, Dad, after that's done, we have to go buy condoms. What? How do you know about condoms? They teach it to us at school, Dad. It's about being safe. Yeah, right, okay. And so a short time later, here we are at the store at Pearl Ridge, getting the suit that he's going to wear. And oh my God, he wears a tweed colored coat, like a khaki kind of thing, this purple and white tie, this black and white striped shirt underneath, these khaki pants that have pleats in it, which I haven't seen pleats since Angel Flight's pants came out. And just by me saying Angel Flights, you know how old I am. And then these shoes that totally didn't match. He walked out of the dressing room with this outfit on, and he looked in the mirror. He says, what do you think? And before I could say, I don't think so, he says, yeah, I like this. That's what he's going to wear to his winter formal. I'm like, all right. We, put it in a box. We wrap it up. And after we have lunch, we're leaving the front entrance of the shopping mall. And for a second, I noticed the parking is packed. And there's people driving around the parking, beeping horns, waiting with, turn signals just to get a space. I'm so excited about Kai going to his winter formal that I'm giving him all this advice. I'm not really paying attention. And then for some reason, my kid just pushes me down on the ground and I go tumbling. And then I hear boom. I'm skinned pretty bad. My elbows, scrapes on my hands. I can't figure out why my teenage son pushed me to the ground. And I get up and there's this gray SUV parked in the entrance, the shopping mall. And I see a Samoan man with his wife and two sons, and they're screaming bloody murder. They're all holding on to each other, screaming and screaming. I walk over there, around this side of the SUV. And there's Kai laying on the ground. Then there's all this blood. And suddenly, instead of becoming emotional, I just go completely numb. And I'm holding him like this, and his body is limp. I keep saying his name over and over again, and he doesn't wake up. Kai. 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 And the ambulance comes, and I go with him. The only thing I can remember is coming home, sitting on my bed. That was a Sunday. When I looked at my watch, it was 3 o'clock. I jumped up out of bed. My mind was blank up until then. Got in my car and drove to Kai's school and waited. 3:15, 3:30, 4 o'clock. He's not walking out of the school, so I'm upset. I slammed the door. I walked down the hallway right into his class, and that's when it hit me. It hit me when I saw Kai's desk. And he wasn't in it. A short time later, I'm still numb. I'm getting up for work and I'm leaving my house. Walk down the hallway, walk out the front door to my car. Something catches my peripheral and I look in my front lawn. There's these two Samoan boys sitting on the grass. I walked up to them. I said, "What are you guys doing?" But I got a good look at them. Those two Samoan boys were the sons of the man who ran over my Kai. I looked at them. I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" The one boy said, "Our father is in jail. Because he can't be here himself, he told us to come and ask for your forgiveness. And according to our custom, we can't leave until you forgive us." I thought to myself, is this a joke? Or is this some kind of weird, twisted opportunity I've been given? I was suddenly filled with this rage, and I thought to myself, I can't miss this opportunity. So I marched back in the house. I went down the hallway, opened the closet, rifled through everything, and found the aluminum bat. I looked at it and I thought, I'm marching back down the hallway because every intention of bashing their heads in, take revenge for the death of my son. As I'm walking past his room, all of a sudden I hear, "Dad." And I hear it again, "Dad." I slowly walk up to his room because the door's been open. I never shut it. I look in. There's Kai, sitting on his bed. He looks at me. He says, "Dad, don't do this. If you do it, you won't see me after your time comes." I was starting to lose the numbness, and I looked at him and I said, but they killed you, Kai. They killed you. He says, Dad, you're not the only one suffering. Their father's suffering too. Forgive them. Don't do it, Dad. I went out there. I told him to go home. I forgave him. Half-heartedly, but I did. The day came when I was in court. I was there to witness the sentencing of this man who had killed my son. As I sat there watching his wife and sons cry and the rest of his family, something came over me. And I didn't even ask. I just stood up and I said, Your Honor, excuse me, I have to say something. He says, You'll get your chance. I said, No, please, I have to say it now. And I didn't wait. I said, Your Honor, it seems strange, but I would like to request that you let this man go. That you not send him to jail for the death of my son. When I think about it now, it was a crazy day. The parking lot was crowded. People were fighting for parking. I think about it now, he probably didn't even see my son. If you look at him now, he's suffering just as much as I am. His family's suffering. If you send him to jail, it won't bring my son back. I looked over at that man and I said, Sir, I forgive you. Because if I don't, I'll never see my son when my time comes. I remember standing there giving the eulogy at my son's services. And I expressed not 1 ounce of regret, but appreciation. Because having my son for the 14 years that I did was a gift, as brief as it was. The only thing is, the suit that he bought to wear to his formal was the one he wore while he lay in his casket at his own services. The moral of the story is to see those you love after you go. You gotta forgive certain things. Let certain things just pass. Otherwise, when you go, you feel like you're alone. You'll never see them.